In the fall, the war was always there, but we did not go to it anymore. This is the opening sentence for Hemingway's In Another Country. Why would Hemingway use such a vague, undetailed sentence to open his story? One reason was because he wanted the reader to fill in the details themselves. He wanted his audience to apply the story to their daily lives from the very beginning. I also think he wanted to indirectly apply the story to his own life. He was part of the Lost Generation, a group of writers who didn't agree with the world. They were the world's enemies against anyone who enjoyed the ways of the world and life's luxuries. Halfway through the story, Hemingway restates this first sentence in a new way, saying, "We only knew then that there was always the war, but that we were not going to it anymore." This time, instead of saying, "we did not go," he said, "we were not going." These two words made all the difference between being commanded and commanding oneself. In the first sentence, it seemed unsure, like they weren't going to the war, but they may return. The second time, he seemed to have made up his mind about never returning. The war changed everything that went before it. The only way those changes occurred was through loss and death. Whether it was the leg, the hand, or the wife, everything changed. In the story, the war was never spoken of as being good, and was always referred to with bad. In this story, Hemingway was trying to say that there are no winners in war, and war is never the answer. Not only was the war always there, but the wind never seemed to stop blowing in this story. The wind also changes things and turns them all backwards. And small birds blew in the wind, and the wind turned their feathers. Knowing that this is painful to birds, Hemingway obviously didn't want to associate the wind with good. Also, the wind came down from the mountains. It blew from the high places, disturbing the low places. This shows Hemingway's feelings towards government and anything else held above others. He felt the government is held in high regards, but all they really do is hurt those lower than them. They, much like the wind, cause silent problems, which you never see coming until it's too late to do anything about it. The government in this story lies to the characters, giving them medals of achievement when they really haven't done anything. They also assure them that everything is going to go back to normal with the use of machines, when really they have no proof that the machines even make a difference. At the time of the world Hemingway lived in, promoted progress and new advanced machines, which the government tried to convince the people would solve the world's problems. But Hemingway believed they only caused more. The wind is the opposite of calm, and though the flow of the story and the mood of the characters don't seem there to cause hysteria, the wind is continuously blowing. There was only one thing that seemed to block the wind, and that was the windows. But they never blocked the wind from the characters, only what was on the other side. In the beginning of the story, the windows are associated with pleasantness, when Hemingway says, "And it was pleasant along the streets looking in the windows." But in the very next sentence, he tells of the game hanging outside them. The windows are clearly a separation between the reality of the dead game hanging outside the windows and the hopes of what lies beyond them. The windows were only mentioned twice in the story, at the beginning and the very end. After hearing of his wife's death, the major only looks out the window. He, being on the reality side of the window, was looking for hope on the other side. But because the story ends there, we don't know if he ever found it. This is how Hemingway felt about the world. He didn't like how it was, but he didn't know if there would ever be a hope for change. In a way, he wanted to leave it up to you. Do you think there's a hope for change? What are you going to do about it?